it clearly seems to be very strong evidence that he has committed some crime. What apparently the Aruban judicial system is concluding that whatever the crime is, it's not a serious enough crime to arrest him while the criminal investigation is still ongoing. Remember, this criminal investigation is still ongoing, like a grand jury investigation that's pending. Formal charges have not been brought yet. Aruba has a system to arrest somebody even before formal charges are brought if the evidence is strong enough, if the crimes are serious enough. But apparently, they're basically saying that the more serious crimes that you might consider here, homicide, manslaughter, assault and battery contributing to death, are hitting a dead end. And that is certainly troubling for people who want to see justice for Natalee Holloway.
I'm Holly Hughes, in tonight for Nancy Grace. We are discussing the fact that today an Aruban Court of Appeals handed down a decision saying that Jorn van der Sloot cannot, yes, you heard me, cannot be rearrested in the case of Natalee Holloway. This is outrageous. I cannot believe that this young man confessed on videotape in gritty detail, and yet the Court of Appeals says, oh, well, you know, we're not going to let you rearrest him. Let's find out what's going on. I want to go straight out to Tracy Sabo, who is a CNN senior producer. Tracy, what in the world does the Court of Appeals base this decision on?
Well, the Court of Appeals said that the entire argument lacked any sufficient evidence to corroborate the prosecutor's allegations that van der Sloot was actually involved in Natalee's death. And he based that decision on what he said was contradictory statements primarily by Jorn van der Sloot, which were not able to be sustained by any further investigative material. They did look at all the video, they listened to all the audio, and they came back and said the bar is very high. This is a suspect who's already been in pretrial detention multiple times already, and it didn't reach that level in their opinion.
Unbelievable. Now, they listened to the video, right? They heard what was on that tape. Is that correct, Tracy?
Yes, they not only heard what we've been reporting and what the Dutch television show has been reporting, but in theory, many other hours of investigative material that was recorded by DeVries and his team there in the Netherlands.
Okay, I want our viewers to be able to hear exactly what he says on those tapes. Can we roll that, please?
How were you so sure she was dead, Joram? You can't. You know, people can also go into coma.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, but it really scared me to death.
No, but I understand that. I definitely understand that you were scared. She really brought her and stuff.
No, but it didn't look good.
How didn't it look good then?
Just, you know, she'd been shaking and stuff.
What, really shaking?
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, pretty much.
I'm asking you, how were you so she was dead, man?
I wasn't sure.
This guy really knows what he's doing. Did he weigh her down to make her sink?
No, I don't think so.
You don't even know that?
No.
Did he ever tell you how he did it?
Of course he did.
How did he do it then?
He just went out into the sea further and he just dumped her.
He just threw her overboard just like that? You've been really lucky, you know. No, then you've really been lucky.
That's what I say. I've been very lucky.
Really lucky that he has been so stupid to do this, you know.
I was even able to sleep that night. I just went home and went to bed.
That's video from ABC's 2020 of the Jorn van der Sloot, emotionless about 18-year-old Natalee Holloway, likely dumped at sea. Now, as outraged as I am and furious as I'm sure you all are, I want to go to a man whose heart is breaking over this. Jug Twitty, tell me your reaction when you hear this.
Well, Holly, I tell you, it's very disappointing, but it doesn't surprise me. I'll tell you what really made me sick today, to be honest with you, is to see his U.S. attorney, Joe Tacopino, or whoever, who's been kind of hiding for the last week because he didn't know what was going to happen, all of a sudden come on and he's all over the TV now, and he's just saying, you know, with a smirk on his face, which it just makes me sick. But yeah, I told you so. There's nothing was going to happen when he knows Iran is a time bomb just waiting to, you know, to blow up. He's I know there are a lot of people, me included, that think the world would be a lot better off without Iran in it.
Well, Jug, let me ask you this. Do you think that Jorn van der Sloot will ever be arrested and brought to trial in Natalee's case?
I'd like to hope that he would, but I doubt it. You know, I pray every night that something will happen, somebody will say something, but to be honest, Holly, there's so many people involved in this. It was a huge cover-up from the beginning, and there's so many people protecting him that I don't know if they'd ever bring him to trial. I just know that he has to live with it. He'll be the one that's looking over his shoulder the rest of his life. So we'll see.
Well, Jug, let me ask you this. What do you do next? I mean, what do you and Beth do next?
Well, I'll tell you, Holly, one thing, you know, Beth, and of course it's heartbreaking for her too, I know, but Beth has a ton of speaking engagements. You know, she travels across the country, and she'll continue to do that. And I hate it for the Reuben people because they're going to hear this every time she speaks to the high schools and the colleges and the civic organizations out there. I mean, it's just going to be, you know, over and over again what happened down there. And I just wish that they would step up, the Reuben government would try to give us an answer and put this thing to bed.
Well, Jug, my heart goes out to you and to your family. I'm so sorry for this tragedy. You mentioned a little earlier that you think this has been a cover-up and a conspiracy from the very beginning. Can you just let our viewers know a couple of examples that makes you feel that way?
Well, I mean, I've said it several times, you know, to go over it again, but that in the beginning, you know, they ask us questions about the epilepsy and everything, which you wouldn't normally ask somebody that right out of the chute. So they knew, like, the second night that she probably wasn't alive. And then just all the stuff, like when all the people were there, all the people that came with me to help, they never even questioned us for 2 weeks. If they wanted the answer, they could have got a lot of the answers about the deal about the 4 o'clock in the morning when he said he picked him up at McDonald's. There were a lot of those answers there that they could have had if they wanted them. And I just think they got in it early to, you know, cover up, and they just had to cover their tracks all the way through.
Okay, Jug, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I want to take a couple more calls. There are so many viewers who are concerned about you and your family and have questions about this case. I want to go to Chris from California. What's your question, Chris?
Hi, Holly. I want to first of all say that my heart goes out to Jug and the Holloway family, and I just don't understand why the Aruban people are not protesting in the streets. I mean, what does the Aruban government need to prosecute a killer? They have his confession that he murdered Natalie Holloway, and I just want to say that I am outraged at the despicable manner that Euron Vandersloot talked about Natalie Holloway. I have a list a mile long of all the great things Natalie Holloway did, and for him to speak about her in that manner is absolutely outrageous.
Okay, Chris, let me throw your question out to Art Harris, who is an investigative journalist on our panel tonight. Art, did you hear the caller's question?
I sure did, and he's got every reason to be outraged, Holly. And this is a court that is saying that one reason they decided that they are going to leave him free is because he's such a liar. He's such a liar that they do not believe this confession. They're not looking at it as a confession, but as a, you know, as a statement of someone whose statements in the past have not been supported by the facts, so-called facts that police have found.
Okay, Art, let me just jump in here. Having prosecuted murderers, rapists myself, when a guy starts lying to you and has to change his story 26 times, isn't that an indication that he's guilty, not innocent?
Well, not just that, but he also admits to disposing of the body. Now, you've got to assume he's got something to hide. He doesn't want police to see what was on the body, what was possibly done to the body, and so it's gone. And, Holly, that, to me, would, in many cases, and maybe they'll argue that if it ever comes to trial, that is evidence of guilt and not innocence or doubt, as this court is saying.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more on that, Art. When you start lying and you start disposing of bodies, you've done something wrong. That's a pretty safe bet. Now, tonight, the Nancy Grace Show is searching for special moms and dads. If you